Let's take a look at using Photoshop to create a mural with some of the images that we have. It's a nice way to create an image that we can bring into Premiere Pro and actually make a small movie out of a single image by using the motion controls. And so this is a nice way to put together a collection of images. I have a little sample here from our Morp dance, and the goal is that we create a very wide image. It's about 4 times as wide as what we normally use within our movie program. And then, of course, with the screen height being the same as that setting that we generally use for Premiere Pro. So the goal is to layer these images in here, overlap them quite a bit, and then use the eraser tool. Use that eraser tool to blend these images together to give it the illusion of being one single image. And that is done by, of course, using the eraser tool, starting at 100%, go down to 30%, and then bring that on down to about 12% to do the final blending. So let's take a look at how we can put this together. Step number 1 is to create our blank canvas. File, New, and then what we want to do is come to the presets and select Custom. And then it's very likely when you first come into this, it might be in inches, and you want to make sure that you change that to pixels, because what will happen every year when we build these is that somebody leaves it inches rather than pixels, and then they end up with a document that is the size of a football field, and that creates some interesting anomalies for our computer. So change that to pixels, and then what we want to do is have a width of 3000. And then we're going to use a height of 530. So 3000 width and then a height of 530. Now after you do one of these murals, we're doing it horizontally. It is possible to do it vertically. You can do that too, and that would just give a different look when we place it in the movie. So I would encourage you to experiment with that and also try it horizontally and vertically. So we'll click OK, and then we end up with this. And then you can zoom into it. And once you do that, you'll end up with something that looks like this. And I've already placed a couple pictures on here. Now, when you're placing your pictures, there's 2 ways you can do it. If we're starting with, let's take a look over here at Alejandra. So if I have this picture, these pictures are very large. So you could take it at this big size and bring it in. It's a bit awkward, but if you bring it in, you can see that it is huge. Okay, and then you could come down here and make sure your transform controls are showing, and then adjust the size of that. And so you can do it this way, but it takes a while. It's a little awkward. Okay, but probably an easier way to do it, let me click the not sign here, delete that, is just go ahead and resize the picture. And so what I'm going to recommend is that you take this down and change that height to 800 and make sure constrained proportions is selected, and that'll get us closer to the size we want, and then we can go ahead and do those fine adjustments once we're in here. Oops. So now we'll go ahead and drag that image into our mural canvas. And so it's a little bit smaller. Still kind of big. You can shrink it down more when you do that resize if you want. It's nice to have more to work with than what you need, and then you can make those adjustments here. So we want these people to be up and close to us. Okay, so now once we have it like that, we're trying to get everybody about the same scale, size-wise. And so then what I'm going to do is take this and overlap it and bring them close in to the other people. Now you see the situation here, you're not quite sure where the next individual is, and so what we can do is come over onto our layers palette, and we can make this layer, just lower the opacity of it so we can see through it a little bit, and that'll just help us with our placement of the image. See that? And then once we like where we've placed it, then we can go ahead and come back up to 100% on the opacity. And then the next step is to come in with your eraser tool. Of course, accept the change for that resize. And then take your eraser tool, and you want a real soft brush. And then we're going to start with 100%. And we'll erase that line first, get rid of that. And we definitely want to bring out the people. Now, as we get closer to the other image, then we're going to change our opacity, and I recommend you take it down to about 30%. And then this is where we're going to start doing that blending a little bit here, like this. And then a final blending at about 10%. Okay. So I could do a little bit more with that, but you get the idea. And so you want to keep doing that and just build these images all the way along. The other thing I would recommend is that I've got this image just a little bit too close to this edge. So when it comes time to put these in a movie, you want to have a little bit of a space in here. Probably like if I were working on this side over here with Hector here, you'd probably want to have it leave about this much space on each end. Just like that. And so when you get that finished, we'll end up bringing that into Premiere Pro, and I'll show you how that's going to work out. And then in another video, I'll show you how we add that motion to make that work. So here we are in Premiere Pro. I've imported a completed mural and added motion, and this is the kind of effect that we want to create with a lot of our images, and we're going to want to be using these quite a bit in Spring Fling. So here we go. So we've got a left to right motion here. And we can adjust the speed to go as fast or slow as we want.